Day. Today we want to look at design exercise programs. As you might be aware that we have started with this module with the previous presentation. This is part of design exercise program, and this is presentation number 2 of the module. And I believe that you have received all the videos that you need to listen to. You might be aware that design exercise programs is one of the core modules in your qualifications, as you know that one of your key roles as fitness trainers is to be able to train a wide variety of people, and therefore it is very important for us to be familiar with the different programs and training environments, and therefore this module will assist you to be familiar with the different things that you need to do when you are designing programs for different clients. So I want you to join me on this journey as I begin. We're going to look at the various steps that one has to consider when putting together a training plan or an exercise program. Step number one, and I'm sure you've got a presentation and you've got the notes in your manual. Step number one when you design an exercise program is to assess the level of fitness, as this is part of your screening, which is the area that focuses more on the fitness testing. And I'm sure you have received or you will receive various fitness tests, the videos that show you exactly how to test or how to conduct various fitness tests. And you've got all the norms and standards in your manual. So one of the key things when we assess the fitness levels is to check the pulse, that is the resting heart rate, and the heart rate after. Remember, you've got three types of heart rate. You've got your heart rate at rest when you are doing nothing, which we did look at it previously, whereby we said for most people it could be between 56 going all the way up maybe to 80 or 76, somewhere there. And then we've got something we call the exercise heart rate, which it picks up as you pick up the intensity of your exercise. And you've got the third one, which is called the maximum heart rate, which is basically a formula which is 220 minus your age. So these are the three different types of heart rate that as trainers you need to be aware of. They are very modernized ways of testing for heart rate. Now you can use a smartwatch, which is a heart rate monitor. You can use your blood pressure cuff or testing tool, which the latest and modern ones now are able to test both the heart rate and the blood pressure. Or you can simply do it manually by putting your fingers on the pulse, which you could find that on your neck or on your wrist. So there are many ways to do it. And one of the tests that we look at is the 1.6 kilometer walk, which I'm sure you received the video. We conducted that test for you to see. Basically, that test is to check your baseline cardiovascular fitness, which the aim of the test is to basically finish the test. And also we look at push-up test, which is a 60 second push-up test, which the aim of that test is to see how many push-ups can one perform in a period of 60 seconds. And we look at sit and reach. Sit and reach is basically, it focuses more on your hamstring flexibility as well as your lower back flexibility. And I'm sure you have received a video on how to conduct that test. And we look at body composition. Once again, we've done a full video for you on body composition. Body composition, it consists of mainly two things. Number one is your total body fat percentage. Number two is your circumference, which we use a skin fold caliper together with the circumference tape. And the next assessment that one could look at is the BMI, which is the body mass index. As you might know that the body mass index, what we need is your height measure as well as your body weight. Basically, we're looking at your height versus your body weight. And once again, you need to refer to your norms and standards. The BMI basically gives you three things. It tells you whether you are underweight or your weight is just okay, or also if your weight is slightly higher, meaning the person, if the person is overweight or the person is obese. We derive all those results from the BMI test. Now I want us to look at step number 2 when you're designing your exercise program. Step number 2 is now design a fitness program. Now, fitness program, there are various things you can do. There are various templates that you could use. I know we've sent you some of the templates, but I'll also advise that you download some wonderful templates from the internet. There are many templates you could use. See what works for you. Now, when you look at design, which is step number 2, the first thing we look at there is to consider your fitness goals. A fitness program must be taken from the goals. Now, remember, the goals are determined by the client needs together with the screening results. Once we have the goals of the client, let's assume that the client wants to lose weight, and therefore the program that we will need to design for that person will be a weight loss specific program. The next thing is to create a balanced routine. Now, a balanced routine is more like a routine that does not focus only on the cardio or weight loss, but it also touches on other elements of training such as flexibility, resistance training, balance, coordination, and all those. Also, go at your own pace. That's the third thing you need to consider when you're designing a program. There's no need to be under pressure. Now, this does not mean we should relax. It means that we have to keep up with the pace. We don't have to overtrain, and also we don't have to undertrain. We have to maintain a very healthy pace that will help us to get to our desired goals. Now, the next thing is to build activity into your daily routine. We all have different schedules. Some people, they prefer to train in the morning. Some people prefer to train during the day, maybe during the lunch hour. Some people may prefer to train late in the evening. Whatever works for you, as long as you and your trainer agree, you can afford to do that type of a program. It's really up to you at the end of the day. Your plan include different activities. Now that's when now we speak on the variety, that the training program must include a lot of variety. You have to introduce a number of things so that your program is not so boring. For example, if you are doing a cardiovascular workout, maybe you can run, some days you can skip, some days you can walk, some days you can swim, some days you can do an aerobic activity, some days you can do spinning. There are many things you can do out there. So the main thing here is to ensure that the program is not boring. It needs to have a lot of things in there. And also you need to allow time for recovery. Rest is part of exercise. There should be days that you don't train. I always say that there are basically three types of rest that you would incorporate in your training plan. The first resting type is the rest in between the sets, or rest in between the exercises. That's when you say, I'll do a set, then I'll rest for a minute or two. The second type of rest is the rest after workout. That's when you rest after an hour. You say, okay, I'll train again tomorrow. So you get some good sleep until tomorrow, then you train again. That's some form of rest. Then the third level of rest, that's when you have a day off whereby you say, okay, I'm going to train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm off. Then I will train Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then Sunday I'm off. Those are the three types of rest that are very important for your programs. And the last thing here, we say put it on paper. Every good training routine should be on paper. You have to write it down so that you know exactly what you are doing each and every day. And remember, once you've written a program, one of the key things you need to introduce is to make sure that you modify it from time to time so that it is not so boring. Step number 3 is equipment and dress code. As you might be aware that you cannot design a fitness program without equipment. And therefore, when you design a fitness program, you have to look at the equipment that you have, because you cannot design a program that based on the equipment that you do not have. So We'll look at key things here on this slide. The first one is appropriate clothing. When you embark on an exercise workout, make sure you acquire all the appropriate training gear, such as the right training shoes, the right clothes to wear, because that will help you in terms of injury prevention and also in terms of making sure that your program it runs in a way that is desirable. So get some shorts, get some tracksuits, get some vests, get some t-shirts, depending on the time of the year. If you're doing a lot of outdoor training, get some cap, get some sunscreen, get some running shoes. All these things are very important. And think of equipment. If you're doing a home-based workout, you may need to acquire some dumbbells, some exercise mats, some medicine balls, just a number of movable training equipment. So this is very important, and you need to plan around your equipment and make sure that you've got enough exercises to do there. And make sure that your exercise program is very much enjoyable. As you might be aware, there is nothing as boring and worrisome as a program that you cannot follow. So and trainers, I will speak to you as trainers that make sure that whatever program you design is something that your client can enjoy. Of course, I know that not every program or not every exercise is meant to be enjoyable. Some exercises we have to do them because they are good for our health. But many of our exercises, it should be something that the client prefers to do. For example, if you talk about cardiovascular activities, we've got a quite a number of activities that you can do. And I mean, some people don't prefer to run, they prefer to skip. Some people can't skip, they prefer to cycle. So the client should be allowed to make a selection from all these. And step number 4, we say now we get started. Get started means start slow and build up gradually. I would speak here to mostly people who are first timers, people who don't have any exercise history whatsoever. Now you have to start them very slowly, let them do what they can do, and gradually you have to progress and build up. Exercise is not supposed to be frustrating. You don't have to push people beyond their limit. Of course, we have to stretch ourselves a bit, but it has to be safe, it has to be comfortable, and it has to progress gradually. Break things down if you have to. For example, if you want to lose, let's say your goal is to lose 10 kilograms before the end of the year. You may not lose 10 kilograms in a month, so you may need to decide that maybe this month I want to lose 3 kilograms. Next month I've got another 3 kilos. Before you notice, you'll be there. Be creative about your workout as a trainer. You need to be creative. Creativity is usually needed when there's a shortage of equipment, whereby you have to improvise and make use of what you have wisely. Listen to your body. When you train, like I said to you before, it's not punishment. Whatever you cannot do, there is no need to do it. And there is no need to push yourself beyond the point of comfort. Training is not supposed to be so uncomfortable. When you feel a lot of pain, when you feel that this thing I can't do, you can always try something else or stop there. So that's very important. Also, be flexible in terms of your days, in terms of your routine. For example, if your client is injured on the leg, there are different activities you can do with the upper body. If your client maybe can't come to the session because maybe the weather is bad, there are different things maybe you can advise him or her to do at home. So flexibility is very key when we are working with clients. Step number 5 is to monitor the progress. Monitoring of progress includes reassessment. Maybe after 3 months or after 6 months, you may need to reassess your client. You may need to run through the test again. You may need to do your BMI test, your body composition. But tests such as your body weight, you can do them on a weekly basis. It's one of the basic tests we can do to check if we are really losing weight or gaining weight, or perhaps maintaining the weight that we want to have. On the next slide, we're looking at this goal setting, which is the SMART goal setting. As you might be aware that when we train the clients we have to set up goals for them. And you might be aware of the SMART goal setting principle, whereby we said the goals must be SMART. And we begin with S. S means that the goals we set for our clients must be very specific. One of the specific goals is if the client says, I want to lose weight, I want to tone my body, I want to keep my weight the way it is, or I want to gain weight. So you can see that that goal is very much specific. The next thing is an M. M means the goal must be measurable, meaning you must be able to measure the goal. How would you measure and see whether the person is losing weight or not? You can use the BMI test. You can use the body weight, the scale. You can do body composition test. There are many things that you can do to measure that to see if the person is really progressing. A is that the goals must be achievable. One of the things we can do, we can break it down. Goals must not be frustrating. If you say I want to lose 10 kilograms before the end of the year, you have to evaluate and see if the goal is really possible. Is it achievable? Because there is no point of setting up a goal that you cannot achieve. It will just end up in frustration. The next one is that the goals must be relevant, it must be correct goals that can be achieved. So that's very important. And also the goals must be time bound, which is the T. You need to set up targets that I want to lose 10 kilograms in the next 4 months, meaning there's an element of time there, because if you don't put time, you can't achieve that goal. The next presentation, we look at the four main types of exercise or training elements, which I'm sure you might have heard about this in the previous presentation. The first one is endurance. When we plan exercise programs, we have to incorporate all these four elements. I know there's been a lot of debates from some clients to say, but what if I don't want to lose weight? Must I do cardio? The answer is yes. Even if you don't want to lose weight, cardiovascular training is important for our health. You may not focus much on it because you don't want to lose weight, but a certain amount or level of cardiovascular training will be necessary for your health specific benefits. And when you talk about cardio, there are a number of things you can do, such as walking, such as dancing, swimming, aerobic classes, skipping. There are many things you can do. Once again, you have to choose what works for you. And talking about cardio, the benefits of cardiovascular training will be your cardiovascular health, which is basically the health of your heart. I'm sure you are aware now that cardiovascular training is known to reduce all heart specific conditions and diseases. The second benefit of endurance training is the weight control. Anybody who wants to lose weight, we've always advised that they should do a lot of cardiovascular training. Also, cardiovascular training in general is known to prevent a lot of chronic illnesses. You can mention any, all of them can be minimized or can be prevented by embarking on regular cardiovascular activities. The next one is resistance training, which is the same as strength training, which is the same as anaerobic training. Now, resistance training, we are referring to weightlifting. Weightlifting could be, some people can use resistance bands, some people can go to the gym, some people can do home training workouts, some people can do what we call body weight exercises. That's when you are using your own body to train. Now, all these, they form part of strength activities. Now, the benefits of resistance training workout or strength workout will be, it increases the muscle mass. If you've got an interest to build up your muscles, cardiovascular training cannot give you muscle mass. And also, the second benefit of resistance training is to improve your muscle strength. The third one is strong bones. As we have heard before, that resistance training is known to improve bone mineral density. It prevents bone diseases. It improves joint flexibility, and resistance training can also enhance your balance greatly. The next one is your balance and core strength, which is the third element, such as standing on one foot. There are many things you can do to improve your balance. We know that usually balance activities, they help us usually at all age. They help us, they keep us going, they improve posture and so many other things. And the next one is the flexibility training. I'm sure you've watched a number of videos on flexibility training. It is important to do flexibility before and after workout. Flexibility can be included in your warm-up, and flexibility can be a part of your cool down. So I'm sure you have watched our full body flexibility workout. If you have not, I would advise that you find that video and watch it. And some of the benefits of flexibility exercise or training includes prevention of back pain. Flexibility improves the range of motion around your joints. Flexibility, it prevents a lot of injuries, and also it reduces a lot of muscle soreness. I'm sure you are aware of this. I mean, when you just started exercise, one of the things you would feel the following day is muscle soreness. Muscle soreness, that's the stiffness of muscles because the body is responding or adapting to new exercise or activities. What you can do to minimize it, you can stretch before and you can stretch after the activity. And I want us now to look at the principles of training. Remember, we don't just train, there are certain principles that we follow for our activity for exercise to be effective. Principle number one is the principle of specificity, whereby we say the training that you are doing must be in line with your goals. Meaning, if I want to lose weight, I have to do a weight loss specific activity. The second one is the principle of overload, that if I want to get to my goals, I have to overload, meaning I have to introduce new intensities, but progressively, which takes me to the third principle. Progression in exercise is to say, I cannot add all that needs to be added in one day. I have to add it progressively, meaning over a period of time. The next one is the principle of reversibility. Reversibility means that when I stop training, I can lose whatever that I've been building up for. And therefore, it is very important that even when we are off, maybe when we're on Christmas break, we have to do some sort of minimum training so that we can maintain all that we have gained. Because you are aware that you can train the whole year, trying to build up, but one month of break can make you lose all that you've been training for. And now I want us to look at more principles, which I call the FIT principle. Once again, I'm sure you have seen or you've heard about the FIT principle before, but I want to run through it very fast. FIT principle stands for four things basically. Number one, F stands for frequency. I stands for intensity. T stands for type, and another T stands for time. Now, frequency is basically how often do you train in a period of 7 days. Exercise benefits are linked to frequency. For me to gain what I want to gain from my fitness routine, I have to use the correct principle. I mean the correct frequency. For us to benefit from any workout, we have to train at least 3 to 4 times in a week, which is 7 days. Intensity is basically how hard do I train? How high is it? Is it hard enough for me to benefit? Some people they undertrain, some people they overtrain. Now, a good balance is very much necessary. So intensity is an exercise session that is challenging enough. It's not so exhaustive, but it is challenging enough for you to benefit. Time is basically how long is the workout. A good workout, I believe it should not last anything less than 30 minutes. Um, the type is more like specificity, is the type of training that you are doing. we always say whatever activities that you are doing must lead you to your goals that you have set with your trainer. Now, how do we modify exercise programs? As you are aware that after some time, an exercise workout must be modified. You cannot do the same things every day. You modify so that it's interesting. You modify so that it is less boring. Now, I've got a few tips that you can implement in order to keep your program exciting and enjoyable. Number one, you can increase weights and decrease repetitions, or you can increase repetitions and decrease your weights. There are many things you can do. Number two, you can try new moves. There's variety, whether you are doing bicep curls or you are doing triceps, there are different variations that you can introduce. You can up the intensity, you can decrease the intensity, you can set some new goals. All these things, they help your program to have a lot of variety. The next presentation, which is very short, is the different training environments. Now, as trainers, I'm sure you will notice that people prefer different training environments. Some people are more outdoor, some people are more indoor. They prefer to train indoor. Indoor is like gym. When you go indoors, meaning you train inside the room. And then outdoor are people who prefer to train outside the room. For example, somebody who prefers to go to a swimming pool, somebody who prefers to go and run. Those are all types of outdoor training activities. So clients should have a choice to choose, and you should think of the suitable program. And sometimes we do advise that you can incorporate both indoor and outdoor activities. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you and your client understands. That's very important. And for now, I think I'll leave it there. And like I said, a number of videos have been sent to you as part of your exercise program design. Please watch and understand the videos and make sure you do log them in your logbooks. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next presentation.